You're listening to Our Young Creators, the podcast. This is episode number 149, and today starts a brand new series right here on the podcast, showcasing the amazing graduates from my recent podcast in a weekend class. Now, I'm bringing them on because, firstly, the podcasts that they have created and are putting out into the world are ones that need to be on your podcast listen list because they are tremendous. And secondly, I'm having them on because I want to show all of you that are watching us live or listening to the podcast that if podcasting is something that has been on your wish list, or maybe it's something you want to do with your kids to create memories and to start bonding over technology, podcasting is the perfect medium to do it. I truly believe that every person needs to have a podcast, whether or not you have a business. A podcast allows you to share all of the unique things about you that you can share with others. The lessons you've learned, the failures you've overcome, the way that you do certain things. Every single person was put on this planet for a very special reason, because you have gifts that the world needs to hear, and podcasting is a beautiful medium on which to share it. Now, without further ado, here is episode number 149 with my good friend Kim White, and one of the people who pushed me and challenged me to put podcasts in a weekend together and do it very, very quickly. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the other side. What began as an experiment to bring my 11-year-old daughter into my business has evolved into Our Young Creators. A podcast, a training center, and a movement dedicated to equipping kids with real-world marketable skills so that they can fund their own brighter futures. We're here to inspire you to turn consumption time on devices into creation time and use technology as a tool to bond and not bicker with your kids. Join us each week as we share the inner workings of our partnership and bring you stories from guests of all ages and from all walks of life on our quest to nurture and to celebrate our young creators. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Yang Pratt, the Chief Dreamer and podcaster right here at Our Young Creators. And today, I have a very special guest for you. Our guest today is my biz bestie, Kim White. She and I just met in the spring, and I feel like I have known her for ages because the way that we work together and the things we've been able to collaborate on recently have just sped up this getting to know you process. Before I welcome Kim, let me tell you a little bit about her. Kim is the creator of My Sexy Business and the founder of the My Sexy Business team. She is an author and international speaker, social media and collaboration strategist who runs masterminds worldwide. She founded My Sexy Business Academy, the Hope to Hope Conference, My Sexy Business Collaboration Summit, and now the My Sexy Business Podcast. Kim, I am thrilled you are here today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
This has been a long time coming. I've been privileged to be a guest over on your page for different conferences several times. However, this is the first official interview here on this page, and it's taken us a while to get here. However, we're here today for an really amazing reason to share a story of how we went from collaboration to creation. Mm-hmm. Now, Kim, if you would share your side of the story about what we were able to collaborate on and what that turned into, that would be awesome.
Well, I love collaborations for so many reasons. And the class is a perfect example of brainstorming in a collaboration and coming up with an idea that maybe you wouldn't think of. And it's not that I had the idea for your class, it's that you had the idea and you needed some feedback. So I want to point that out. This is not to give me credit for what amazing things you did in this collaboration. It is to make sure that everyone knows what's possible when you listen. Like when you really hear what someone else is saying and you work towards a goal of amazing sauce, you just open up so many possibilities and so many opportunities. So when we were talking, you were in Collaboration 101 class with me, and I had been telling different collaborations that I had been involved in over the last 3 decades. And you were already a podcast extraordinaire. You already had a giant course that was, already selling. You already were doing things, but it was too big for me. I have a very busy schedule. And when you said someone had said something else to you about wanting it quicker, that's what I told you. I need something fast. I need something that I don't have to spend 8 weeks doing, because I don't have 8 weeks to do it. And you said a friend of yours had mentioned something about a weekend. And it was like a light bulb went off for both of us that podcast in a weekend would be an amazing class. I could come in on a Friday and leave with the podcast on a Sunday was amazing, whether you had a full-time job or whether you were a full-time entrepreneur. You could have it in that quick a time, as long as we got to borrow your learning curve. So you created an amazing class that we got to share with my Sexy Business Club and the Collaboration 101 class. And we all came out the other side with the podcast.
It was really an extraordinary weekend. And when we started talking about this course and what it could be, and was it even possible to do it in a weekend, it kind of lit a fire in me too. And I want to make sure that I mention my friend Ann Colin, because she's the one who said something in a weekend would be kind of fun. And then when I brought that to you, everything that I was learning in your collaboration class, we were then using to create this collaboration together to give people success really quickly. And what I'm so proud of in this class is that we had 8 people enter into podcasting in a weekend. And at the end of the weekend, 8 people had their podcast. And I think as someone who takes a lot of courses, statistically speaking, that doesn't happen very often. There's usually, less than half the people finish things. And so seeing everybody in the class, like you go through this and having little wins that led to the launching of your podcast. And now it's showing up in places like iTunes where everyone can listen. It just gets me so excited that the idea was successful. And that now this idea can grow, because there's so much more to having a podcast than just launching. Launching sometimes can be one of the easier things, because now there's the marketing, and are you going to monetize this podcast? How are you going to get guests? There's lots of considerations. However, most people stop though because it does take them so long. So if we can start to give people these wins, which you really helped me distill those down into like the smallest bits. I had first recorded this class, and each video was about 20 minutes. And you kind of just said, no, shorter. If I have 5 minutes, I want to be able to do something. So thank you for that, because just going back and forth with somebody else in this collaboration really, for me, were the keys to my success, because had I done it alone, it probably would have taken me ages. Who knows if I ever would have launched this thing? But then you said, we have people who are in our club who have been telling me they want a podcast for years. And I know one of our students, it's been 8 years on her wish list. And now after 8 years, here we are, and her podcast just showed up in iTunes, which is fantastic.
Which is amazing, because, collaboration brings you clarity, which is what needed to be done at first. But then it also brings you leverage, because we worked together on it. I already knew people who wanted it. I think that was one of the keys. And one of those people was me. I wanted a podcast for several years, and I actually had talked to you a couple different times about just hiring you to start it for me. Mm-hmm. Because I want one, and I don't have enough time to struggle through the process the old-fashioned way. I'm all about being tutored. I want the fast track version. I want the quick win, but I want it to be the right kind of win, right. Not just a get it done so I can say I have one, mm-hmm. but a system that will work from now on. And that's where you come in, my friend. You are amazing at automation. You are the repurposed queen, but I'm telling you, you're the automation ninja. You are absolutely amazing. That's right. At, taking things that are so complicated, or at least feel like they are, and making them simple enough that even a kindergarten princess, I always laugh and say, if you can teach a kindergarten princess to do this, you can teach anyone. And instead of hiring you to do it, I decided it was best served that I take the class and see if it was possible for me to do it in a weekend. Because you can't have something that you say you can do and you can't actually do it. And, there's people a lot smarter than I am about technology that can take your class and maybe have an easier time even. But you made it so simple for me. You did step by step in very short, and I love that part, in very short, videos that I could actually put you on one screen, pause the video, and do what you told me to do on another tab. That's huge for me. And all the years it took you to learn all this stuff, I got to learn in a weekend.
And that's a beautiful thing about finding the right people in your life, finding those mentors, finding those biz besties who can really hold your hand and say, I don't want you to make all the same mistakes that I've made, because I've been doing this for so many years now, and here's what not to do. I want you to have these amazing wins, and we're not going to take forever. And, I had people take my course before. Lots of families took this course and came out with the podcast. And for kids and families, that was a good setup, because there's school to contend with. There's, full-time jobs. There's lots of other stuff. However, now for families, though, if they can set aside a weekend to do this, and they can start learning together, creating together. And really, for me, it's about turning what we would be spending on our phones, consuming information. We are meant to be creating things in this world. So let's not be consuming all day and scrolling in our news feeds. Let's be putting things in news feeds for people to enjoy across the world now.
I love that. And, I appreciate the fact that your brilliance actually in this collaboration leveraged my influence as well, because I now will have a different platform to help people create sexy businesses for sexy lives, because that's what we do. And the crazy part about that is now all these people who don't have time to watch videos can actually listen, to the podcast while they're in the car or while they're on the run. And I've been asked, I don't know, probably over 100 times, when are you going to start a podcast? And I'm thinking, oh, no. I have all this other stuff. I'm doing all this other stuff. That's too much. And you taught us, and this is I think this is a miracle class in time, because I asked you right up front, how long is it going to take me to do this? Because I can't commit to 10 hours a week. And you said, it should take you, once you get started, it should take you about half an hour a week. And I thought, okay, I can do that. But the truth is, you and I both learned something that you didn't realize before the class. And that was, you ended up saving me between 3 and 4 hours a week, and I got a podcast.
Yeah.
So you actually gave me back, a lot of hours that I can use to do the things that I need to be doing. And I have a podcast.
And I think that's a really important key for anyone listening live, catching the replay, or hearing this on the podcast, that when I think about podcasting, I don't think about it as one more thing I have to put on my to-do list that I have to struggle to do. The way that we do it is taking something you're already creating, like this interview, and then putting it on another platform so people who don't hang out in Facebook can still hear what you have to say. And I think for me, that's really where the power of podcasting comes in, because like you mentioned as well, it's portable. People can literally take you and your message and all the good things that you give to this world in their back pocket. And they don't even need to have Wi-Fi if it's already on their phone. So they could be in the middle of nowhere exploring, and there you could be in their ears, guiding them, giving them that one little nudge that they need that day to help them get to the next level. And podcasting to me is such a magical medium. I'm surprised more people, really don't have one, because it really is a game changer for so many people.
Well, and it's a game changer in your business, because it's like, for me, I have, done hundreds and hundreds of interviews that they should have been on a podcast. That's one of the things that I look at, is they should have been there, because I have lots and lots of interviews where I've interviewed someone who had a sexy business principle that helped them create that life that they wanted, instead of, a business that owned them and it takes too many hours. Because that's what we're really taught, is to make these, beasts that take away our family time and take away the things we love and take away, because we've got to do one more thing and one more thing. Well, that's what I do all the time, is I go out and find people who are living a sexy life and can help you the same way that we were tutored through this class. They can help you be tutored in, how to create something sexy that will give you time instead of take your time. And that needs to be all over the world. That needs to be something that's out there. So you increase the influence that we can have for parents who need more time with their kids, and they need to know how to set their business up so they can. That to me is like super, super sexy collaboration.
So great. And I'm here to tell everyone that what Kim is telling you about how she guides business owners to think about business and the shifts that happen internally to help us live out those sexy lives, the ones that we're not always going, where we have time to breathe, we have time to enjoy our families, and even maybe some activities that we haven't done for a long time. And to me, that's a huge win. So Kim, I would love for you to tell us about who this podcast is for and why they should listen.
Well, I think the podcast is for anyone who wants to start a business, or who already has a business that they are maybe struggling with. Maybe they realize that working 14 hours a day is not very sexy, And what they thought they were creating wasn't exactly what they were creating. And I think they will learn the difference, learn to think in a deeper way, in a different way, so that they can create for themselves a business they own that doesn't own them.
And I love that. And I just know, having learned from you in this collaboration class, with our collaboration, and even just before that, I mean, just the way that you talk about business and the great stories and analogies you always share to make a really complex idea in business be really, really simple. And I think that's why we connect so well, because I think we're both able to do that at some level. And so for anyone who is out there who is wanting to build a business and you're tired of that grind, definitely Kim's podcast needs to be on your list of podcasts you subscribe to and listen to regularly. Now, Kim, how often can people expect to hear from you with a new podcast?
Well, the goal is to have one weekly, but I also have a very audacious goal because I can't help it. Like, this is one of the things that I am actually known for in business, and that's what I call cliff jumping. You know, I don't do anything small because it takes just as much effort to do something big as it does small, and that's actually a sexy business principle, to take massive action so that you get massive results. Mm-hmm. So between now and December 31st of this year, my goal is to release 100 podcasts. It's to get everybody up to speed in the podcasting world, where everyone who's followed me in real life, they already have gotten the privilege of hearing all this. Now the podcast world will also have that, that amazing introduction into a sexy business.
And I love this goal too, because like you said, you don't do anything small. You do it big, 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 because it takes the same amount of effort, whether you do a little bit or you do it a lot and jump in with both feet. So I just want to put this all into perspective. It is the middle of September, and by the 31st of December, Kim wants to release 100 episodes. That is huge, my friend, and I love that you set the bar so high, and you made me want to challenge myself. So I'm here to declare too that by the end of this year, by Christmas Day, we're going to release our 200th episode, because I want to play big with Kim too.
Yes. And I love it because that's part of the demonstrating. If I can't demonstrate to you what a sexy life looks like or a sexy business looks like, you shouldn't listen. If I can show you that my life is sexy and that my business is sexy, then, follow that success, follow those clues, because I talk about things that are not sexy. I will tell you the failings I've had and the things that I know better now. And that's part of learning the sexy process also. And for you to jump off the cliff with me in such a huge way, that to me is exciting, because I am an influencer of influencers. And my friend, you are an influencer in this podcasting realm and in so many other arenas, that I'm thrilled to have these goals together and to accomplish them, because that's one thing I will tell you. I'm a goal accomplisher, not just a goal setter.
And that's a huge differentiation, a goal setter. I used to be the goal setter, where I would, write my goals in January, and by the middle of January, I'd forgotten about them and, didn't pay them much mind. And I would look at them from time to time and think, I really need to do this. But it wasn't where I was at that moment, so I kind of put them aside. But now I agree that being a goal achiever, being a goal getter, actually setting a goal, making the intention, and taking the necessary steps to get there. I think with your help, I've gotten so much better about that, because really when I think about the trajectory of this class we just did, Podcast in a Weekend, your collaboration class was 6 weeks long. And we were able to run this class towards the middle to the end So we only had a few weeks to put everything together, to put all the pieces in place before we launched it. So I'm here to tell you that if you have a big goal, you just need to find the right people like Kim in your life who can challenge you and question you and push you further than you think that you can go, because it doesn't have to take a lot of time. I feel like since we started talking about that and to where I am now, I honestly feel like I'm in the fast lane. Things are happening so quickly, and amazing opportunities that I never dreamt possible have found themselves in my lap. And that's thanks to you and all of the things you teach in the Collaboration 101 class. And I want to make sure people who are watching and listening can get in on this collaboration momentum, because it is huge. Can you tell everyone what you have going on right now?
Well, we are in the middle of a 5-day challenge for collaboration. Most people don't really know what it is. They think they know, or they kind of have an idea, but we're trying to set the world on its ear by teaching them what it really is and what it really looks like. And then we will start we'll open the class on Saturday, where they can actually, buy the class, but we only take a limited number. I will say that on Saturday, the 15th of September, and the class will actually start September the 24th. And we have a big surprise for this group that the last group didn't get, and that is we will actually be in Atlanta. Miss Automation Ninja herself will be with me, and we're going to have a group that we can actually kick this off party style and have a huge collaboration right out of the gate the first day.
That's so amazing. And first of all, I'm so excited to meet you in person, because I really feel like we've already met because we connect on such a deep level through technology. So I can only imagine the energy and the excitement of meeting not only you, but all these other wonderful people who are going to be there, who I've gotten to know inside of this collaboration class and your club, because like you, they are influencers as well. In their realms, in their niches, they are making huge waves. And so when you're together with people who are making huge waves, you kind of really get sucked into that wave. And you have this great saying about, when one ship rises, they all rise, because when you're in the water and these waves are crashing around you, you're going to get scooped up. And I just love it. So I would encourage anyone who is listening to this podcast, watching the replay, I would encourage you to check out this challenge, do the work, and then jump into this class with both feet. And I want you to jump in big, because I know what the power of collaboration has allowed me to do in a very short span of time. People come to me all the time saying, I want to do a podcast. It's been 8 years. It's been 3 years. And when you can get around people who want to do it now, that amazing frenetic energy all around, the excitement about wanting to help somebody else so they can help you as well, it's a beautiful thing. Where can people find out, or where can they join in on this collaboration challenge now, and then the class information coming soon?
The collaboration challenge is actually on Facebook. They can go to my business page, which is Kim White, My Sexy Business Team, or they can go check out, we have just been updating our website at mysexybusiness.com. I'm super excited about that. And within the next few days, the class should be on the website, available to start taking people in. I will tell you, you do not have to be a big business to get in the class. It's something that people think in their mind they have to be on a certain level. And I love it when someone comes in with an idea, because just like your class, that went from a chat to 8 podcasts being created. I mean, that went from conception to implementation. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's so huge wins. The people who are in the group, I always find them so amazingly supportive. And it's nice sometimes, especially in this online space. It can sometimes feel a bit lonely. It feels like you're the only one having these challenges or thinking these thoughts. In reality, though, there are thousands of us in the world that it's now nice to have this home where we can come together and we can start bouncing ideas off of, and not having to feel like someone's going to steal your idea.
Yeah.
Because, what if they do? It really is your idea, and it's going to be what it is because of you. Even if someone else took the exact same class, it's going to be something different because they bring a different skill set and they bring a different knowledge, different personality. And for years, I struggled with this idea about people used to borrow my ideas a lot in my brick and mortar business. It used to make me so angry. But then when I started to understand, I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm going to do it in my own way. They only know a portion of what I do behind the scenes to make it happen. So it may or may not actually be effective and successful for them.
You make a really great point, because I will say collaboration is something that on the outside, it looks like it's going a certain direction, when in reality, all of the amazing sauce is actually behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So someone can parrot the outside of what you do, but if they don't really know what it is, they won't make it anyway.
Right.
So, like, for me, I feel like we shouldn't even think about that. We should vet who we work with. We should definitely, know who we're collaborating with as far as the best we can. And then trust the process, because even those who come along and try to do something that you're doing, they never make it because they are not standing on their own feet. They're trying to stand on yours. And so, picture someone trying to step on your shoes and walk with you as you are, walking across the sidewalk. They're stumbling around and they're not able to do it, whereas it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
So you are able to do it. So I just think that that's a really good point too. A lot of people get scared about collaboration because someone has used them. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And that's not what happens in a real collaboration.
Yeah, and that was something I really learned in your class about what a collaboration is and what it isn't. Yeah. So I know I want to keep this a little bit shorter because I know you and I could talk forever and ever, Kim. Yes. So I would love to know if you have some parting words of advice or wisdom about this idea of collaboration.
I think the biggest thing with collaboration is you have to be willing to love lavishly, share transparently, and, serve courageously. It might be a little scary at first, but dive in, because you cannot get to the place you want to get in as quick a time as when you collaborate. And again, when the water rises, all the boats rise.
So beautifully said, my friend. And I definitely think I need to turn that into a beautiful graphic just to remind everybody about what a collaboration is and the things that we need to bring to the table. Not the things other people can give to us, but what can we give to them first? Because that's really what it comes down to, is how do we serve in a big way? And how can other people help us serve bigger and better and bolder, so more people can really get the transformation they need right now in their lives. Okay, my friends, I want to say thank you for tuning in. Nicole and Tara, I so appreciate you for stopping by. Definitely catch the replay if you didn't catch all of it, or you can listen over on the podcast as well. I'm Yang Pratt, Chief Dreamer at OYC, and I've had a lovely conversation with Kim White, and I encourage you to go sign up for her collaboration challenge and see how it can change your life in a very short span of time. Cheers, my friends. Well, that's a wrap on episode number 149 and the first graduate from Podcast in a Weekend. If this episode resonated with you, I want to hear about it. Head over to Instagram and tag me at Our Young Creators. Until next time, my friends, I wish you an amazing day filled with lots of collaboration. Cheers.